I guess the message here is you do you and don't apologize for it. And maybe if we stop judging ourselves, we'll stop judging other people as well and let them do what they need to do. I'm Amy Porterfield, ex-corporate girl turned CEO of a multi-seven-figure business. But it wasn't all that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the budget, and the time to focus on growing my small but mighty business. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and you'll see the business I have today, one that changes lives and gives me more freedom than I ever thought possible, one that used to only exist as a daydream. I created the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Well, hey there, friend. Welcome back to Online Marketing Made Easy. I'm so very glad that you're here with me today because I'm about to share something I hope will help you feel less alone and more empowered to take control of your own mental health. As I'm sure you can imagine, this episode is more vulnerable than my usual episodes because I'm going to give you an honest look at how anxiety and depression have played a role in my life for as long as I can remember, and what I've done to manage it. Now, I'll be honest, sharing these things publicly isn't easy for me. And even when I went to write the notes for this episode, I just felt like maybe I shouldn't share some of this. And I felt emotional, not just because I've been dealing with these issues for so long, but because it's been a true journey. And I'm proud of myself for not giving up. So please forgive me if I sound a little bit shaky as I recall some of my experiences with you today. Now, with that said, I'm sharing all of this for a reason. And that reason is because I really had to ask myself, why do I need to share some of this? I mean, why do people need to know all of my personal details around anxiety and depression? Like right before I hit record, I'm like, what is the reason here? But I've known what the reason is this whole time because I've thought about sharing this for a long time. And here it is. If you've ever struggled with anxiety and depression like I have, I think you need to give yourself permission to do what's best for you. Now, I need to repeat that last line, to do what's best for you. So I think we need to stop worrying about what other people think or if they will judge us. And that has been a fear of mine about sharing this. Some of you will judge me today. And I'm going to have to be okay with that because I decided to do this episode to really help you understand that it is you and only you that can decide what's best for you, meaning you have to give yourself permission, again, to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, no matter what. So as I share my own story and the strategies that have worked for me, please remember that everyone's journey is unique and what works for me may not work for you. Also, I am not a doctor. I am not suggesting you do anything I've done. I'm not encouraging you to do anything that I've done. I really just want to be honest with what my journey has looked like in hopes that if you struggle with any kind of mental health issues, that you will investigate, you will do your own homework, you will figure out what is right for you. I can feel that in my throat. I just ask you to keep an open mind and remember that we are all on our own path, doing the best we can with the resources we have. So judge me all you want, but just remember that we are all on our own path. And if we could just give everybody the grace to do their own thing and not put that judgment on them, imagine what kind of world we would live in. So let's dive in. I want to start with a little bit of a background. So if you've been listening to me for a while, you've probably heard me share that I've struggled with depression since high school. So I actually didn't know it was depression in high school. I just thought that I was a teenager and I went through breakups with boyfriends and things didn't work out in school. And so I would definitely go through moments of what I now call like a dark cloud over my head. And it would come out of nowhere, but it was really subtle in high school. And then I got into college. My parents were married for 25 years. The summer I went away to college, they let me know that they were getting a divorce. I'm the youngest, so I think they waited until I was out of the house. And it was a really big deal. More so than anything, my mom was a stay-at-home mom for so long. So she had to like find a new skill and get a job and go out in the world. She had never, ever lived alone. My parents were so traditional. They married young. So my mom was in her family's home. She got married and she moved into a home with my dad. So like I was just really, really concerned with my mom more than anything. And I'm very close to her. And so I really struggled knowing I was now away at college. I went to UC Santa Barbara and I grew up in Orange County, California. So I was about 5 hours away and I just felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. So that's when depression really showed up for me. And I think sometimes depression is triggered by certain things in your life. And that's when it would like reared its ugly head in the most biggest way. And so I actually tried medication when I was in college, worked a little. I was also young, so I probably was like, I don't need this and kind of fickle with it a little bit. And so I wouldn't say that I was consistent for a long time, but then it just became my norm. So some of you can relate to this. If you deal with anxiety or depression or just anything else that I haven't dealt with, but it's some kind of a mental issue for you, sometimes it just becomes your norm. Oh, there's that black cloud. Oh, here it goes again. No, I'm used to this. This is my norm. So I think for many, many years, it just became my norm. And then in 2021, when I moved to Nashville, I started to experience depression at a whole new level. And then for the first time ever, I experienced anxiety. I had never even known what anxiety felt like. I was very confused by it. I didn't know what it was. And what for me, it was the minute my eyes would open up, I would have a beating heart. My mind would be racing. I was worried about everything. It was so wild. And I just chalked it up to, well, I just moved to a new state. I've never lived outside of California. This is all new to me. Hobie and I feel like fish out of water. And I miss my family. I miss my friends. So this is normal. And so that went on all of 2021 and into 2022. And I realized, holy cow, this is not going away. Things got better. In Nashville, it was really hard for us in the beginning, but then things got better. The anxiety wasn't going away. The depression was so strong. And so that's when I realized, holy cow, like I have a business to run. I have a marriage that is important to me. And Hobie fell. That's the thing with anxiety and depression, your loved ones. Oh my gosh, what I put my mom through for many, many years of the ups and downs of my depression and then anxiety on top of that. Poor Hobie, like he just didn't know what to do with me. And he was super supportive, but he didn't have any skills to deal with that. And so it wasn't just hard on me, it was hard on those around me. And so I started to go to therapy. And so that's one of the first things I want to share with you. Therapy has helped me immensely. And I've had a few different therapists that I've seen in person or online. And right now I'm seeing one online that I really, really love. And she's actually a coach. And so she's not a therapist, but it feels like therapy to me. And she's also the same one that Hobie and I have used to keep our marriage strong. So it's really great because she knows me. She knows Hobie well. I do individual sessions with her. We've done group sessions like Hobie and I. So, you just have to find your person. And sometimes it takes a few different tries, maybe a lot of different tries to finally find that person that you're like, oh, this works for me. So I found that, but I just want to encourage you, if you've done therapy, it hasn't worked for you, or coaching and you've struggled, keep trying. You will be able to find your person for sure. So second, first I went to therapy. I continue to go to therapy. Second, I started confiding more in Hobie and my close girlfriends. I let them know when I was in a dark place. I remember both Jenna and Jasmine. You all know I'm very close to those two women. Both of them were just so great. Like, Let me know when it's happening. Keep sharing what's going on. There's a space for you here. Like finding people that you could say, I'm having a dark day. I had a hard time getting out of bed this morning, or my anxiety is at an all-time high. That kind of stuff, being able to say the words to somebody beyond even just Toby, because I knew I was putting a huge burden on him. I think that was huge for me. So just letting them know what was going on. I knew they couldn't fix it. I didn't look at them to fix it. I just wanted to voice what was going on. And that was really helpful. So I did that. Number 3, I started working out. So in April of 2022 is when I started working with my trainer, Andrea, and she's here in Nashville. And she comes to my house 3 days a week. I'm very privileged to be able to say that. I am well aware. And also, I choose to spend my money on specific things, and my health is one of them. I put a lot of money into my health. And so she comes to my house 3 days a week, and we do weightlifting. That's the bulk of what we do. And because I'm getting older in my 40s, that's so important. But really, on the days where the anxiety is so freaking just unbearable, one workout with her, and I am so much better. I want to work out so my body looks good, but really, I know I'm in that gym every day for my mental health. I know at the end of the day, if it never even gave me one muscle, that I was in there for my personal health. I've always been overweight for much of my life. And so, for those of you who struggle with your weight and just the idea of working out is just so overwhelming to you, please find something. Find something that you feel safe and comfortable in, or maybe a little uncomfortable, but you're willing to go out of your comfort zone. Because more so, of course, if we're overweight, many of us want to work out to look better. But a lot of the times, and this is where I'm not a doctor and it's just my personal opinion, for me, I should just talk about me. My weight was a symptom of my depression for sure. Like I am well aware. And so, and then when the anxiety started, I put on more weight. So being able to manage the anxiety and depression has helped immensely. So working out, lifting heavy weights changed my life. And I'm someone who hates working out. So I definitely don't want to do it, but it has been everything. Okay. So along those same lines, I started journaling and meditating. And so I'm terrible at meditating. I've talked about this before. I'm still doing just 10 minutes in the morning and really just like 4 days a week, which is my work days on the weekends. I tend to be less stressed, less anxious. So just on my work days, starting out with a quick journaling exercise. And sometimes I have nothing to write today. And doing meditation with the Calm app has helped immensely. You all know that I have the red light. I lay on a specific mat. Even if none of that worked, in my mind it does. So don't tell me different. It just works for me. So now we're at the part that I don't want to say. And I get really emotional about this part because one, some of you will judge me and I have to be okay with that. But two, it's just so different than it's just so out of my character, but I think saved my life. So when I moved to Nashville, I got hooked up with a doctor here. This is so wild. Hobie and I had COVID. And so this was at the end of 2021. And on January 1, we found ourselves in this doctor's office who he also kind of has a med spa and he was doing like IV therapy. And so I told Hobie, I don't know if it works, but we were so wiped out. I said, let's just go get some IV therapy. It's really big in Nashville. So we did that. And the doctor happened to be in the office that day, which is really weird. It's really weird that it was January 1. And I started talking to him and I let him know about my depression and how much it's been an issue for 2021. And he recommended ketamine. And I had never heard of it. I had no idea what it was. And just for the record, no judgment to anyone, but I've never been high in my entire life. And so I'm very naive to any kind of drugs. And so ketamine is very controversial for some, but the research, my research showed that it can relieve depression symptoms really quickly and even help form new neural connections in the brain. I look at it as connecting different wires in my brain. Now, what I thought was really interesting, it was actually first used to help soldiers with PTSD. And from there, researchers started to explore its potential to help with depression and anxiety. And so when this doctor started talking to me about it, I went home, I did my research. I was so desperate to figure out how to get the depression to go away. And so I talked to Hobie and I said, what do you think? And he said, I think we should do it, or you should do it. He didn't do it. And so I did a ketamine protocol in early 2022. I worked with the doctor. It was in a safe place. Hobie was by my side every single time. And a protocol means that you do it for a certain amount of time and a certain times during the week. It kind of starts out like, I forget exactly what I did, but let's say it was 2 times a week. And then it went to 1 time a week. And then it went to, I was done. And then if I feel like that black cloud is coming back, and about 6 months after I did the protocol, I got a little scared. I felt like it was coming back. And we did what he calls a tune up, where right after I was like back to my new self. I wouldn't say my normal self because my normal self deals with the depression. So it helped immensely. And I'm not encouraging you to do it. I'm not recommending it to anyone, but it changed my life. And I wanted to share that. This is why I didn't want to share it, because it's controversial. And I tend not to share really a lot of personal stuff because I just want to teach business all day. But my depression and anxiety affected my business so much that I think for some of you it does as well. So again, I'm just coming back to, I shared this with you just now to say, you have to do what is best for you. And we have to stop worrying about what other people will think. So today, this is the most wild thing. I am absolutely not depressed at all. And I haven't been for a very long time. I've done a few tune-ups, not many since then. My whole life feels different. And so for many of you that have said, like, you just seem different, Amy, I got a text from a student. She actually said, I watched a video of you in 2021. She did an interview with me and she's like, you seem so sad compared to how you are now. I'm like, wow, that's so wild that she even saw it in an interview where, of course, I'm just trying to be happy and upbeat for the public, but it was just deep inside me that just wouldn't go away. So Hobie also will tell you, my wife is dramatically different. Now, one thing it did not do for me is it did not take away my anxiety. The anxiety was still strong as ever. So absolutely took care of the depression, but for me, not the anxiety. And it's really, I don't think, meant for anxiety. It really is meant more for depression. And so I waited about a year, so all of 2022, and realized the anxiety is not going away. And so in Q1 of 2023, so fairly new, I actually have a new doctor now, and I worked with my new doctor. And because I'm getting older, we're starting to talk about hormone replacement and hormone therapy and all of that. And one of the things I brought up with her is like this crazy anxiety I can't shake. And so she's like, absolutely, we should get you on medication. Now, I did not want to get on medication because I don't want to be reliant on a drug. I really wanted to figure out this on my own, but I couldn't. I've tried so many things. And so she got me on a low level dose of an anxiety med, and it didn't really help at first. And she bumped it up a bit and boom, it was like a switch had happened in me. And I would say 80% of my anxiety has gone away. And for somebody who has been struggling for so long to keep it all together, it feels like the weight of the world came off of me. And so I just realized, like, I'm somebody who needs some medication for the anxiety. I hate that I am, to be quite honest. I judge myself for that. So you can judge me all you want. I already been judging myself. But this is how, when I finally discovered it, a really good friend of mine who he has been just an amazing, amazing person in my life. He told me he was on it. And then another girlfriend, I was at a mastermind event, and someone I totally look up to and love her so much, and she does amazing things in this world. She was on anxiety medication. And I thought, these beautiful souls that are doing wonderful things in this world needed a little extra help. I don't judge them at all. So why would I judge myself if I need the extra help? So that's when I realized I'm doing this. Now, I never thought I would share that publicly, but here I am. And I'm so glad I did it. Again, not recommending it to you, not saying you should try any of this, but I am coming back to do what you need to do to get the support that you need in any way that it works for you and that you feel good about. So for me, it wasn't just the drugs. It was a combination of all the things I went over. And I don't want you to lose some of the other things that might not be as shocking as the ketamine thing. So I want to remind you, therapy, I have to do it. It's so important to me. Confiding in loved ones, working out, heavy weights for me, meditation, journaling, the ketamine protocol, and the anxiety meds. All of it together. I feel like such a different person than in 2021 or the years before that. And here's the thing, doing just one of those things would have never been enough. Even just the drugs wouldn't have been enough because I still have anxiety here and there, but now all the other things I do with the medication just helps immensely. So to me, my whole protocol is everything that I just mentioned. I have to treat it like I treat my business, holistically, dedicated to it, and showing up when I don't want to. So, managing my depression and anxiety has become an active part of my life. And that means every single day, I do something about it. It's not something that I should be embarrassed about. I don't feel embarrassed. I just know that I'm not the type of person that usually shares anything controversial. And I also keep my private life pretty private. And so sharing this with you feels very, very vulnerable. Like I feel very exposed right now. And I just don't know. Something inside me just said, Amy, share it. Someone today, this is the part that gets me emotional. Someone today is going to hear this and they're going to say, I need to do something. I can't keep feeling like this every day. And there are people in my life that shared their journey with me that got me here. It's wild when I share the ketamine thing with my friends, and so many people have done it. That's wild to me. You'd be amazed how many people have used it for depression, but they just don't talk about it because I get it. It's, it's a drug and it's been used in many different ways, not all good. I want to encourage you to really just do what works best for you, share what feels right for you. Maybe that will help someone else feel a little bit normal and not so different or alone. But I guess the message here is you do you and don't apologize for it. And maybe if we stop judging ourselves, we'll stop judging other people as well and let them do what they need to do. All right. I hope this shorty episode found you just as it needed to. And thank you so much for your support and love. And I'll see you on Thursday for more entrepreneurial goodness. Bye for now.